awesome? I love it. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Vera Stewart, and welcome to the VeryVera Show. Are you having friends over, or maybe you're just going to watch a movie and enjoy being right there in your own home? Well, I've got 3 great recipes. We're going to start with the garlic parmesan stovetop popcorn. Going old school with cooking the popcorn on top of the stove, but we're going to do a fantastic sauce to go over it. Then how about a wonderful meatball recipe? These are just delicious, easy to make. I'm going to show you a new way to prepare them, and then we're going to do a great sauce to go on top. Then finally, you want some champagne to celebrate? Well, let's put that champagne in the dessert with a cupcake that is fantastic, very festive, the perfect bite-sized sweet to end the night. So let's get started with that popcorn and begin the celebration. Okay, I'm ready to get started on this popcorn, and I'm going to really show my age now because this reminds me when I was a little girl, every Sunday night we had popcorn and a milkshake, and we watched Walt Disney on Sunday night. And so this smell really reminds me of my childhood. And not only that, we're doing it the old school way with the popcorn. So we're going to get started first with the delicious sauce that goes on top. So I've melted a half a stick of butter, and I'm going to add to that some garlic powder, because this is the grown-up popcorn. This is what we're going to celebrate with on New Year's Eve. So I'm just going to mix that, blend that together. And then I went ahead and got some popcorn done. And it's already in the bowl, and I'm just going to pour this directly on it and stir that up. And like I said, this is the grown-up version with the garlic powder, but just think of all the different combinations of toppings that you could put in this. And this is just going to get stirred up, mixed up really well. And then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to add your Parmesan cheese to that. And this just makes a really great snack. And I picked up the popcorn at the Fresh Market, and I just want to hold up a couple of these. This is the original Orver Redenbacher popcorn that Fresh Market sells, and it just pops up really well. So let's talk a minute about how we cooked the popcorn on top of the stove. So I'm using my Wolf Dutch oven. I went ahead and put the oil in, and I put 4 kernels of corn in the oil just to make sure that the heat was at the right temperature. And once you hear those 4 kernels pop, you're going to remove those kernels, and then you're going to put in the rest of the popcorn. So I've gone ahead and done that part. Now I'm going to add the rest of the popcorn to the oil. I'm going to put the lid on, and then I'm going to remove it from the heat for just a few minutes, about 30 seconds. And the reason for that is you want the heat to come back to the right temperature. You want that to just take a minute to make sure that you don't have that oil too hot. And now I'm going to put it back on. But before I do, I'm going to give it just a little coating, make sure all of that popcorn is getting coated with the oil. And now that's going to start popping. It's going to take several minutes for that to go all the way through. So you might be wondering, why in the world would you go to this much trouble? Or first of all, like I said, you're never going to forget that smell. There's nothing like the smell of popcorn cooking. And then this is a healthy version of popcorn. We're using coconut oil today, which also gives it a little bit more sweetness. It's really healthy. And you know, processed popcorn that you buy to put in the microwave is not as healthy of a choice. And this is just kind of nostalgic. This is something that you can go back and talk to your kids that probably never knew popcorn was cooked any other way other than in the microwave, to show them a little bit of difference. So we're going to let that finish popping, and when we come back from the break, we're going to get started on the cocktail meatballs. That is one of my favorite dishes, really easy to prepare, and I'm going to give you a new tip for how to make it not very difficult. So come back with me in just a few minutes. let's get started on these meatballs. You know, this time of year, we're through with Christmas, it's time for New Year's, and we're a little bit more laid back. So do things that are casual, that can be used just while you're all sitting around on the couch, and just make it easy. So this is an easy recipe. I'm going to give you an easier technique to actually cook these meatballs, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to get started with the Fresh Market's ground chuck, and you know, every Tuesday this is on sale for $2.99. So I certainly recommend that you go in there and load up on Tuesdays. But you know, we talked about healthy popcorn a minute ago with the coconut oil, and if you didn't want to use ground chuck, you could use ground turkey. So either one really works well. So I've got my turkey meat, my hamburger meat. I'm going to add that in with an egg. We've got some panko breadcrumbs, salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and thyme. All right, so ordinarily at this point, I would mix this up by hand. I've gone ahead and done that, and it's just, you just really want to get it really incorporated really well. So I've gone ahead and done this and have it ready ahead. And this is where I want to give you some tips on how to make these meatballs uniform in shape, stay together, not fall apart when somebody puts a toothpick in them. So the recipe that we just put together, I've flattened it out, I've made a line down the middle. So now I know that this recipe tells me that I'm going to get 27 meatballs out of this, because I've done a half of a recipe. All right, so if you're going to get 27, and they need to be about an inch, you're just going to start pinching pieces. And what you're looking for is, out of this, I'm going to get 13. When we were doing this in the test kitchen, one of the girls said, golly, I never thought about doing it that way. So I said, well, I'm going to spend more time on that on the show this time. Because, you know, a lot of times you'll do it and they'll be too big and you didn't get as many as the recipe said. So we're looking for 13 out of this. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Look at that. I must have done this before. So now you've got your 13 even meatballs. And we're going to take each one, and this is where you want to just spend a minute rolling them, because that makes a nice firm meatball that once you put that toothpick in, it's going to stay together. So we could do a little math in the kitchen with our young person. We could teach them about dividing the meat in half, getting the numbers, and then don't you know they want to do this. And this Fresh Market ground chuck, just look at my hands. There's not even a lot of fat or grease on them. So you're going to get all of those rolled out, but let's get started on this sauce, because this is really what makes this recipe delicious. All right, so I know you've all made that grape jelly chili sauce recipe a million times. So this is not quite as sweet. It's a little bit on the tart and spicy side, but it is delicious. So this is cranberry sauce, Heinz chili sauce. And you know, Heinz chili sauce is like one of my secret ingredients. I cannot tell you how many of my recipes actually use that. We've got orange marmalade. So here's a little bit of the sweetness coming in. A little bit of water. And don't you love using jiggers for measuring techniques? This is soy sauce, red wine vinegar, and we've got some red pepper flakes. So on this, a little bit of this goes quite a long way. So like I said, this will be a little bit on the hot side. So you could scale that down to whatever you feel most comfortable with in terms of your family. Okay, get this stirred together really well. And then this is going to need to cook for about 5 minutes until it's very well combined and nice and thick. All right, the sauce is nice and thick. It's coating the spoon. It kind of reduced down just a little bit. Looks fantastic, smells even better. And while this was cooking, I went ahead and finished the meatballs, got those in the oven. And now the ones that I've made ahead, I'm gonna go ahead and add to the sauce. And you know, on the VeryVera show, we always have a twist to everything. So since this is a cranberry sauce, what about cranberries in the meat before you make them into the meatballs? So we've done a few of those as well. So this is gonna cook down for just a few more minutes. And in Vera's Corner today, we're gonna talk about those traditional Southern foods that you're supposed to eat on New Year's Day to bring you all kinds of great good luck. If you're new to the South, and I'm sure you've heard all the buzz surrounding what are you supposed to eat on New Year's Day? Well, we're going to talk about today why those foods are important, what the superstition is behind it, all the good luck surrounding it, and why you don't want to not have this meal on New Year's Day. Greens symbolize paper money, so cook some greens or cabbage on January 1st for a wealthy new year. Beans and peas also represent money, but in coin form. I like to go with black-eyed peas on the first day of the year. Pork is considered a symbol for prosperity and progress, as pigs always root forward. I like to reach for some pulled pork, or you can just have a ham sandwich. If you're superstitious, avoid chicken and lobster on New Year's Day. Chickens scratch backward and lobsters move in a backward direction, symbolizing setbacks in the coming year. A classic dish to consume on New Year's Day is Hoppin' John. Chef Troy Gagliardo made a delicious Hoppin' John risotto in season 4. Find it on our website. Incorporate these foods into your January 1st menu and start the new year off on the right foot. Welcome back, everybody, and I know for sure I'm going to be eating my greens on New Year's Day. So we're going to get started on the champagne cupcakes, and honestly, you will not believe how strong that champagne flavor is in these cupcakes. It's amazing, and they're so decorative and actually just very festive for this time of year. So the recipe is extremely easy. I went ahead and got the icing done in advance, and that's just a matter of creaming my butter, cream cheese, adding in powdered sugar, and about halfway you're going to add in champagne as the liquid. Instead of vanilla extract, we're using champagne. So that's just a really nice creamy icing that we've done. And now, believe it or not, I'm going to introduce you to cake mix, for heaven's sakes. The cake lady is talking about cake mix. So this, again, is just a very simple recipe. What makes it unique is that instead of water, we're adding champagne. So I've got my cake mix already poured into the bowl. I'm going to add in egg whites because we want these cupcakes to be white, so we've separated out the egg yolk. I've got just vegetable oil, and now my champagne, 1 1/4 cups. So this also is kind of fizzy when you add it in. It's just great. And you know, this recipe can be done with just in a bowl with just your wire whisk. You just want to make sure that you incorporate everything, and you can see it starting to fizz around. About a minute or so will incorporate all of that. So I've gone ahead and I'm doing these as minis because our display today is going to be very unique, and actually a little 2-bite dessert most of the time is all anybody wants. If you're having a party, this is just going to be the perfect little dessert to try. But I've got my little mini cupcake pan, holds 24, and I did the little gold liners because that's going to really go well with our display today. All right, so this is just about ready. And how in the world are we going to fill these cups and not make a gigantic mess? Well, my tip today is to take that same champagne Pyrex. And you're gonna pour your batter into that. And now instead of using a spoon, you're gonna just pour. It's gonna be so easy. And you're gonna fill these almost completely full with the batter. And if you have any batter left, just make one layer, because this icing is so yummy that it would be fun just to make a layer cake out of it as well. All right, so let's talk about how we're icing these for just a minute. I'll come back to that shortly. All right, so the little mini cupcakes, I went ahead and put my icing into a piping bag with just the little flour tip. And as you can see, they're just a cute little bite-sized dessert. So you're just gonna hold tight to your icing bag and just really just kind of go around the outside and then up to the center and top. So around the edge to the center and straight up. And just keep some good motion on it while you're going. And here again, that champagne flavor is fruity. It's not overly sweet. It's just right for what we're doing. Now, the decorations, little pearls, and these are all edible. These are little edible pearls. If you can keep your hands on them, they're unpredictable, but it doesn't matter, you're just sprinkling. And then our theme today is gold and black and white. So we're just gonna sprinkle some little gold sugars on there too. And again, on something like this, I love to do something bite-sized because nobody really wants to be interrupted with a whole lot of dessert. And you know, we've been pretty healthy on our recipes so far, so this one we're gonna kind of go all out. So come back with us after the break. We've got a little setup to do. I've got to go put on my party clothes, and we're gonna get started with welcoming in the new year with a lot of pizzazz. Happy New Year! Oh, I'm so excited. And you know, I really wasn't planning to do anything much, and now all of my plans are changing because this is going to be so much fun. And doesn't it look fantastic? So all of this is so easy. You have got to do it. We've got to bring in 2018 with a bang. So let's walk through what we did today. The adult popcorn that had the butter, the garlic powder, a little bit of parsley, Parmesan cheese. It is addicting, let me tell you. It is so good, but it's healthy. We popped it on the stove with coconut oil, so it has a little bit of a sweetness from that. And it's just an old school way of welcoming in the new year. Then we moved to the meatballs, and these are fantastic. These were very easy to make. We just mixed everything up. There were about 8 different ingredients that went in it, all probably things that you have in your pantry. I showed you how to divide the meat so that you get even distribution in each of the meatballs. And then remember, you're gonna roll those really well in your hands so that the meat stays together and it'll stay on the toothpick when you get ready to eat them. Then we went to the cupcakes, and the cupcakes are just fantastic. You can really taste the champagne, and don't worry, except for that little tiny bit that went in the icing, the alcohol actually cooks out, but the flavor remains, and they are fantastic. So let's look at this presentation. Unbelievable. These are plastic champagne glasses. When we made the tower, you really couldn't see it, so we dipped each of the ends into the gold paint, and it just kind of made it pop. That brings in the little gold cupcake holders that we did. The gold and pearls on the top really look fantastic, and it's just an easy way to come grab it. If for some reason somebody gets out of hand and this gets knocked over, nothing's gonna get broken, no harm done. It's just gonna be a lot of fun. Just a black tablecloth with some streamers and different things to sit out there, just really a fun way to do it. The popcorn, these are plastic popcorn holders that we just went and bought the adhesive cardstock in gold to go around those. So those turned out really well too. So in Vera's Corner today, we talked about New Year's resolutions and that meal that you need to eat to make sure that you have good luck. So I certainly am planning to eat that myself because I need all the luck that I can get in 2018. I want to introduce that in 2018, the VeryVera cookbook is going to go in pre-sales in January. So I want you to be looking out for that. Our recipes are always available on our website at VeryVera.com. We love all of your feedback and all of your comments. So I want to welcome in the new year with a bang. I certainly want to wish all of you a happy new year. And certainly I hope that the new year brings in happiness, health, and just a wonderful year for everybody. I want you to remember that no matter what you do it in good taste, and come back and join us again in January of 2018 for more terrific episodes of the VeryVera Show.